Who's to blame here?
First of all, there is a serious bias on this set. I expect this from Nick. You using words like pathetic and all-time low, and what is Steph doing? My goodness.
Well,
you're on this side for a reason. You're on my
team. It's the design of the desk.
No, you're my backup.
Who's to blame,
all right,
bro?
Here we go. Blame pie a lot of people.
Okay.
I can start with Jordan Poole, who's become unplayable. I could throw in the A brothers, Clay and Dre, who struggled mightily last night. Andrew Wiggins, who I love, and still is a very good player, just hasn't had that same postseason impact that he had last year. But, and let me preface this by saying, this is the guy that deserves the least amount of blame. But, and here's why I'm going here. Because I am nothing if I'm not fair.
That is true.
Right?
That is true.
And recently, there's been some talk about Steph Curry replacing LeBron James should they win the championship.
Mount Rushmore.
In some quarters. I'm just saying, in some quarters, it's been out there.
Get your chisel and hammer out, change that face.
So while Steph was the best player on the court for 47 minutes, while he was the only reason the Warriors were even in the hunt.
Okay.
I do have to hold him to the same standard that LeBron James has been held to.
You don't say.
Which is rare, but I got to do it. And the last minute of the game, Steph, he didn't deliver. Now, this is that's the late one, but you saw I can live with the first shot.
Sure.
I can live with that. It almost went in. It was in. There you go.
It's not a bad shot. The first one's not a bad shot. He just missed.
The second one, I thought he let AD off the hook. Now, AD played great defense. No question about it. But I thought he let him off the hook. You had plenty of time to try to shake him up a little more. And you could have called. I think you should have called for a screen. I get that you like the matchup on AD. But get a screen, because we see Steph all the time just have a tad bit amount of space off a screen and hit a three in rhythm. So those two shots I wasn't fond of, especially the last one. But then the timeout.
Not calling
the timeout.
That's brutal.
And throwing the ball. You'd had about a 1.5 seconds, which was enough time.
Way more.
1.7?
It was 1.7 when it went out of bounds.
So maybe 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
And here's what I'll say. And we saw, 2-3 weeks ago in Sacramento. When Steph called a timeout, even though they didn't have one
so you just
remaining.
gotta switch them.
Well, I'm saying what it's emblematic of is a lack of attention to detail late that's cost them twice.
I think
almost cost them against Sacramento, but
let me jump in here. Game 4 against Sacramento, Game 4 yesterday. Those are the two highest minutes games he's had since the finals in 2019. Regular season or postseason, if you exclude regular season OT games where he played extra, but different thing. Most minutes he's played in any playoff games since the finals were that Game 4 in Sacramento and that Game 4 last night. So
you think he...
Well, I think it is noteworthy that part of being... Steph is one of the best conditioned athletes ever.
Absolutely.
But everyone knows when you get more tired, it is harder to process things as quickly and as sharply as you typically do. Now, I appreciate you being fair because so few people are. So many people over the last week or so have wanted to have what I find to be a ludicrous conversation, Steph or LeBron, LeBron or Steph, who's higher on the all-time pyramid, but then do not want to treat Steph with anything near those standards. I heard he's the greatest point guard ever. I saw Magic Johnson get called Tragic Johnson. Now, I didn't really see it because I had just been born, I know it happened. And so, there are times when you are this great where you can be the best player on the court for the vast majority of the game and then have a few tough moments at the end and it gets turned into you blew it. When in a maybe a more fair, more just world, it would be like, well, if I hadn't been awesome prior to that, we'd have been getting blown out.
But you think he was the most to blame?
No,
for the loss?
no, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. But I'm saying I've seen a lot of guys have that arc. LeBron a number of times where you keep your team in it. You're the only reason it's close. You miss a couple shots at the end, and you're the GOAT in a bad way.
He was getting ripped because he passed to George Hill after scoring 50.
100%. However, I do not think Steph is the most to blame because there were equally or close to equally as bad gaffes by guys who played poorly throughout the night. So let's start with Clay, and we can show it to you. Clay hit the three to go up 99-96. He had not been shooting well. He had not been playing well. This right there is an egregious shot.
Yeah.
And I understand the shot clock's winding down, but you had 6 seconds. That's a horrible shot. And Steve Kerr, there's a great angle, that baseline angle, where Kerr's like, what are you doing? So for Clay to go heat check Game 6 Clay when he had been bad all game is really bad.
And I agree with you. The only thing I'll throw in there is when Clay shoots, I've come to expect it to go in.
Well,
and those were bad shots, especially the first one, because he usually doesn't shoot from that far out.
That far out, and it looked bad leaving his hand.
Part of me was like, it might, because it's Clay. He hit so many of those shots.
But then there's Draymond. Oh. And Draymond, Steph shoots that short shot. Draymond gets the offensive rebound. They are down 1. He has Schroeder on it.
Yes.
He doesn't even look at the basket. You're not down 3.
Wait, what?
Draymond to
a layup.
He's not getting
over Schroeder?
It
wasn't Anthony Davis there.
Okay, but so
he should do that.
Even if you're not going to kill him for that, what about throwing the ball away? What about, can we give you the Draymond turnover on the hammer action? Where, listen, this is a great play at the Clutch Sports Open run, but during the regular season, he's not on your team. That's a terrible play by Draymond Green. Wildes?
And LeBron knew it was coming.
And LeBron knew it was coming. LeBron's calling everything out.
He saw the setup.
And everyone, so that's, listen. So it's all 3 parts of the Warriors' core. Yeah, go ahead.
That's Andrew Wiggins' fault.
What?
Andrew Wiggins is watching like he's in the stands, like he's Jack Nicholson. When Draymond comes around, like, AD is now in the corner. He's just standing there. This is Andrew Wiggins' job to
screening.
He's screening Bron.
Draymond's stuck
here. And the ball's not supposed to go to Wiggins. It's supposed to go to Clay.
But once he's covered, that's the other read.
But listen, Wildes.
Look, I will say this. Draymond had nowhere to go. No. Now, you don't leave your feet. Look, we say that's the fundamentals. Don't leave your feet and pass the ball in the air. But everybody does it, and a lot of times it works out in the NBA. But once he left his feet, he had literally nowhere to go because LeBron told AD this like they knew it was coming.
Can I say one other thing about Draymond before you go on, Steph?
Go.
Just quickly.
The layup is
the layup is bad. The turnover is bad. And I'm going to say something else that maybe people say is unfair. But one of the reasons the Warriors are in this position is because the kid who they gave $120 million to has not only not improved, but he's gone backwards. I do not think it is crazy to say part of that is because the heart and soul of the team, the leader of the team, punched him in the face and the whole world saw it. And that in any other instance,
maybe
we would say, go to football for a moment. If a year coming off a Patriots Super Bowl, if there was this up-and-coming receiver, and we found out Gronk went over during practice and cracked him in the jaw right after he had and then he got paid a big deal, and it fell off a cliff, wouldn't we say, probably a little, there is some correlation, causation here?
But what's the statute of limitations on Draymond's punch when compared to Jordan Poole?
You blame the playoff. I can't blame the playoff.
I think that again, if we are talking about a pie, for the third reference, of reasons Jordan Poole has become unplayable, a slice of it dates back to the punch.
Fair.
And so that's all part of it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, now we're coming to the part of the show which I think the audience was looking forward to.
Oh, really?
Perhaps your fellow co-hosts were not. Here's the historical record of teams down 3-1. Brou, not great. It's less than 5%.
One of those 13.
Is the Warriors blowing it to LeBron?
And there's another one. It happened a couple weeks before.
I'm sorry. When the Warriors came.
Bro, officially, how many toes down are you now?
Y'all really want to know? You think I don't have any toes?
I don't know how many toes. Just a lot.
You actually think I'm not going to put toes down?
I don't know.
I don't.
How many toes?
I think
at
you're
one
too
point,
smart.
You don't think I'm going to put toes down?
You're too smart.
You were going to put 12 down.
First of all, let me say this funny. Because last night, for the bulk of that game, because, it was close the whole way. Ebbs and flows.
Lakers
but
had
Golden State
Warriors
led
had
most,
a double-digit second half
They led
lead.
most of the way, and I'm sitting there.
Toes out.
Tomorrow. Oh, they mocked me when I said the Warriors are the better team
We
after
did.
a 30-point blowout. And I said all of America, for at least a day or two, is going to see that I was right. I was close. But here you are now asking me how many toes I got down. I'm going to say this. Some people will jump off the Warriors bandwagon after a game one.
That's true.
Yeah, I did that.
Yes, you
I
did that in the finals
last year.
But me, I am ride or die.
Well, you're going to die.
Because they might die. Because I'm realistic, they might die, but there is a chance.
Okay.
We're talking about 4-time champions.
Yeah.
We're talking about 2 of the best 5 shooters in history.
Yes.
We're talking about one of the best defenders in history. And Wildes, what are they brimming with?
Championship pedigree.
There you go. Championship pedigree. And Nick, just like I was with him when they were 10-10. And 20-20 and 30-30.
Yes.
I am with the Warriors. I get it. I'm not. They might die.
Let's get to a toe count.
But there's a chance. Now, here's how many toes I am. One hand is off. So it's
Okay.
3 toes down.
Okay.
3 toes down.
So here's the problem.
And here's when you're a
more.
player, because we're looking at it like there's no way they win these
I know.
3 games.
Win at home, just steal one
When
on
you're
the
a
road.
player, you're like
I get it.
one game.
One
That's
game.
all I need. One at
get
a
it.
time.
So here's the problem.
3 toes.
Here's the
3
problem,
toes
because
down.
we
3
would be
toes down.
remiss
3 toes down.
if we did not. We're 14 minutes into the show, and this name has not yet been uttered. Lonnie Walker IV.
Awesome.
And
Good
Lonnie
point.
Walker
Good point.
IV had the game of his life in a spot most even pro athletes are unable to. Young player who had his role cut and then put to 0, stayed ready. And I know it's cliche, about staying ready and anytime give you your moment. That is hard to do. That is hard to do for understudies in the high school play, and that is hard to do for guys in NBA rotations who have fallen out of the rotation. He did. And the reason I am bringing that up here when we're talking about your confidence in the Warriors is we have discussed about the Warriors, who they have that they can trust and go to. The Lakers Wildes now have 7 guys that are in their top 8 of their rotation that believe in themselves and the team believes in. LeBron, AD, D'Lo, he was awful yesterday, but he's brimming with confidence. Schroeder, who wasn't very good yesterday, but always has confidence.
Played all right, but made a few
the behind the back pass impossible.
He
Reeves,
right.
he's him. He's sold us himself. Hachimura,
AD calls him.
And now Lonnie Walker. That team, to blow a 3-1 lead, you need an institutional meltdown in addition to the other team going incandescent. Steph can go incandescent. I don't know
Clay
that. Maybe we'll see. But that you would need a meltdown by the Lakers. They are too deep at this point for that to happen. And so, listen. There's good times and bad times. This is a bad time for the Warriors.
Here was the other thing with Lonnie, though, and I meant to mention this. He scored most of those buckets on Steph.
Yes.
And some of Steph's defense was okay. It wasn't all that defense wasn't bad. Sometimes he was in his face, and Lonnie just hit great shots. So credit to him.
So I was ripping the Warriors on Twitter, Brou, and I saw this response. I said, you know what? Go Suns at JT timestamp. That's a good point. I'm going to bring that up in the show. Clay and Poole combined for 9 points, and they only lost by 3 on the road. I'm like, that's good. Does that give you any more confidence? Does that maybe want to add a toe? That it was a close game and those two guys were super cold?
I think 3 is a lot of toes when you're down 3-1. Like the Knicks, no toes. They're down 3-1, no toes. I mean, look, obviously they're in trouble. Yeah. But I do have some belief that they still can pull this out.
Okay.
Brou.
Oh, here we go.
Don't even bring it out.
deserve
Don't
it.
even bring it
Brou,
out.
you were
I
so-
don't
you
even
had
know what
such
an olive
cogent
branch
analysis.
is. I don't even know what an olive branch
Okay.
is.
All right. By the way, Wildes,
I don't.
Oh.
it's very interesting
It's
that
not
you
in my
brought up
vocabulary.
someone else's tweets, because that
yes.
brings us perfectly to Wildes' wild
excellent.
thoughts.
America's
So-
favorite
I
segment.
forgot to follow you.
Brou, here's the thing.
I'll get on it.
Yeah,
after
no,
the show.
do it.
This is actually a great example for whether you're on a sports team or a television team, that if you don't do your job, it can negatively affect your teammates.
You didn't tweet?
So once again, Wildes sent essentially no tweets of note during the Laker game. So I then had to search Wildes' mentions to see if there was anything interesting said to him, like the tweet he just mentioned. And this is where he becomes a bad teammate. Unfortunately, Brou, well, you're the victim of this. Let's just show the tweet.
This must be a
Can I show you something that...
I get Darv and him have tons of trust in Lonnie
Okay, hold on. I
Walker.
want to get off the trust train that you guys were just like debating who trusted them more.
Shout out to Kai Peterson 77, who's an actor in Los Angeles. We appreciate
That's true.
you watching
That's
the
true.
show,
Yes.
DVRing it, and then sending us that after the game. But Brou, I think you inspired. I think it was a premature
It
butt
was-
list.
it was a
You
pre-butt.
inspired Darvin and Lonnie Walker IV.
You got to give me this, Nick.
Yeah.
During the season, there were times when I pointed out Lonnie Walker.
That's
like
true.
Lonnie had,
That's
you remember,
100% true.
he
Yes.
actually was having a
That's what
pretty
I'm
good
saying.
season at times.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that, but
You
that's a good
inspired
catch.
him.
But
Yeah.
Wild, we're gonna have to cancel the. I mean, really, you're gonna lose
I
that
had several
episode.
tweets. You just follow me. You're just
After the show, I will. I will. I'm sorry. I forgot.
coming up on the show.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.